Well, look at that. The road's pretty rutted up, and we decided that we're not going to try and get the Prius through here. It's all wet and muddy along here anyways, so best if we continue our journey by walking. It's getting to be that time of year when ticks are starting to come out, so spraying myself down as a precaution, because you know those nasty little critters carry some pretty bad diseases, and so I really don't want to be catching Lyme's disease or that one where you can't eat meat, red meat, afterwards. Wow, look at this. It's just beautiful out here today. And we are the only ones out here, which is so awesome. Love being the only ones out in the middle of nowhere. Hey sightseers, as you can see, Marty and I are trekking down this dirt road. We got a hot tip that there is an abandoned cabin here in the woods, and so we're making our way in. As you can see, we tried driving up as far as we could go and then ran into a bit of a big dirt puddle, big mud puddle that is all rutted up, I'm sure, from other vehicles coming through during the spring thaw. And so we found a place to park, and now we're trekking in, as I said, and gonna be on the search for this abandoned cabin. Awesome, can't wait. Hopefully it pans out. You never know sometimes on these leads, on these tips, but sources say that we should find something. So hang around, stick around, and see what we find. Look, it's tree barnacles. As you can see, we've left the dirt road and now we're heading into the forest. So this should be interesting. We're, like I said, kind of going off of a tip, and so not sure how easy this cabin is going to be to find. If anything else, it'll be fun venturing off in the woods by ourselves with Mother Nature as our only companion. Oh, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? I wonder how many ticks are going to be out today. What do you think, Marty?
A lot.
We're going to be infested?
You're going to be infested big time.
I hope not. Alright, come on. Oh, cool. Check out this fungus growing on the inside of this tree stump. That's really cool. I've never seen anything like that before.
The size of this tree here. This tree is well over 100 years old. I don't know why it wasn't logged off. There's one back there too like that. There's a couple big ones like that here. It's pretty rare to get that big in the woods because they're all competing for sunlight and nutrients and all that. It's amazing to see that standing in here.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that I can't talk. The circumference of that tree. I mean, how thick do you think that tree is diameter-wise? I mean, you can't even get your arms around that thing.
No, it take two and a half of me to get around it. And I got gorilla arms, orangutan arms.
Yeah, so that's a big tree.
And it's not like super huge, but that's big, you know, for in northern woods like this, and a tree that size. There's no sunlight here. I mean, it's like noon right now, and look how shaded it is in here.
If you can see up there, the hole in the tree there, but that looks like it would be the perfect place for an owl to nest.
Who?
What was that owl? Don't pollute?
Give a hoot, don't pollute.
Yeah, give a hoot, don't pollute. Do you remember the name of that owl? If you do, leave it in the comments section below. At the end of the video, I'll reveal the name of that infamous owl from back in the 80s and the 90s. Looks like we have to be careful where we step. Signs of spring popping up from underneath the leaves. These little white flowers are growing everywhere. It looks like we might be on the right track. We've discovered an old wood stove here laying in this depression in the earth. And then if you look over here, it's the front of it, the door. And then it kind of looks like there might be an old tin can here. And I'm not sure what that was part of the stove. Oh, kind of interesting though. It's laying here, just abandoned in the woods. Well, I think I might have found an old bottle. Let's take a look here. I don't know. It's probably full of, it's kind of yellow liquid. I bet you it's probably filled with something rather undesirable. I'll have Marty come over here and take a look at it. Alright, so we've determined it's not that old because it has a plastic top on it. So my excitement has diminished because of that. There's some old tin cans here. Not sure how old. They could be from like the 80s or the 90s. What does that say on there?
Something cement.
It's a mystery. It's a mystery. And then we've got this thing here. Looks like that piece of... Is that a big bolt on there? A screw?
A Kickstarter. Oh, something like that. It looks like. Clamps onto something.
Huh. Well, we must be getting closer to the
An
cabin.
old shoe.
Oh, is that part of an old shoe?
Yeah, this is part of an old shoe.
Ah, that's like the leather.
Yeah.
I ain't much left of that. It's supposed to be somebody's old dump.
Yep. A couple of them out here.
Yeah. So this is what we've discovered so far. Looks like the remains of an old crock. And then some glass bottles. Well, these look older because I think they're metal. Yeah, those are metal caps, so those would be older. What's left of them. Kind of smashed up. That's too bad. Oh, keep going. Keep looking because that means we gotta be on the right trail to finding that old cabin. I don't know about you, but seeing that old stuff gets me really super excited. I love running across stuff like that out here, out in the middle of nowhere. It's like it's a piece of history. Somebody's history. Somebody was here at some point, and so, I don't know, to me that just really is like, so cool. So Marty just discovered this old barbed wire. They used to call it back in the day devil wire, and that's because it had the barbs in it that if you've ever touched them, you know then that they don't feel too good when you scrape against it, against your skin. And this is just laying here in the woods, so at some point somebody had this marked off for their property. It's kind of cool to see that here. There's a whole mess of it actually, because there's some over here too against this rock. They may have had this area fenced off for cattle, chickens, I don't know. something. Yeah, you really got to be on the watch for that. I just got my foot caught in that. Leave it to me after Marty warned me, watch out for the double wire, and then of course I got to trip over it. Well, it looks like our tip paid off because if you look, it appears we've stumbled upon the remains of an old cabin here in the woods. Wow, this thing is in really rough shape, and apparently the person that I got the tip from hasn't been out here in a while because they had said I could actually walk inside this thing, and as you can see, there's no walking inside this thing. Alright, so I'm going to try and sneak the camera in underneath. It looks like there's the remains of an old bed or something in there, and who knows what else we might find. So bear with me as I move the camera around here. Start out, we've got the remains of the old screen door leaning up here against this old tree, which by the way is super big. Another one of those really old trees here in the forest. Man, this thing goes way up there. Holy crap. That is a big tree. And then over here, looks like the remains of an old metal cabinet. So apparently at some point, somebody had been out here that was a little bit more modern. Dragged some stuff out here. And then if we go inside, I'm gonna step over the wall, seeing as I can do that easily enough. Can kind of take a look inside here. There remains, as you can see, the old metal springs from the remains of the mattresses that were there on that bed. And then somebody was out here drinking beer. I don't get that. Why do people come out to abandoned places and drink beer? Leave their beer cans laying behind. Should probably pick that up and bring that with us. And then over here looks like the remains of another old cabinet with this had glass in it. The glass is broken out. And then yeah, it's all broken out because the ceiling collapsed in on everything. See if I can go around to the other side and get a better look. Well, it looks like I'll be able to make use out of my new headlamp and shine some light inside so you can see there's some signatures on an old door frame in there. So shine that in there so you can see it. If you look in back there, that should give you a good view of the names of the people that visited here at one point. Looks like we got 82 of 81. Kathy, maybe? Sport? Arnie? Jill? Becca? Maybe Melissa? That looks like 81 of... I don't know if that's an 81 or a 61. That's interesting. So again, if you notice that this is a true log cabin where the old logs were rough hewn. They weren't machined. They were definitely rough hewn, likely with an axe, and then put together. Looks like at some point somebody tried to hold it together by adding some nails, but that wouldn't have been original to it. I mean, considering the age of this thing, it's no surprise that people would be adding to it if they could try and save it. So what's cool is it's got this old brick chimney. I'm gonna walk around to the other side there so we can get a better look at that. If you look over here, you can see what looks like carpenter ants had at one point maybe tried to chew their way into this log. Not really sure what type of logs these are, but if you look in You can see what looks like another white shelving unit back in there that the roof is collapsed in on. And I'm thinking that might be a door. What was the door right there? And then if we come out here, I want to show you the roof. The roof was originally made out of slabs of wood across the top as basically like wooden shingles, you know, slabs of wood going across the top here. And then at some point, sometime later, somebody added in those shingles over the top, probably because the wood was starting to deteriorate, and so they were trying to add the shingles to help prevent the cabin from further decomposition. But as you can see, Mother Nature has pretty much taken over this place, because this thing is, like I said, in really, really rough shape. If you look, you can see the old brick fireplace that they probably used for both heating and cooking. Considering the size of this cabin, I don't think they had a separate kitchen area, and so they would have used the fireplace to cook over back in the day. How old do you think that is, Marty?
Well, it's over 100 years old.
Yeah, it's over 100 years old, but it's had some modern attempts at improvements to it with the shingles added over across the boards.
Tar paper shingle on that roll out. It doesn't actually have shingles on it. That's part of the tar paper with
Like,
asphalt and stone on it.
yeah, but it still that's a more modern thing, because underneath there,
Well, I know this goes back to at least like the 30s or the 20s, this type of stuff. It might be even older, so 2020.
yeah,
100 years ago.
true, very true. I think we forget that we're already 20 years into the 2000s, and so back in the early 1900s, 1920s, 1930s, that is 100 years ago. So it's cool that, you know, this is here. It's unfortunate that it's deteriorated so much. Unfortunate, but not unexpected, considering how everything up here in the Northwoods, oh, I'm gonna turn my light off, I don't need that on anymore, how everything up here manages to decompose at a quicker rate than it would, say, out in the desert where you have the dry heat. Up here you have all the humidity, the moisture, the snow, the wind, and so stuff up here does not stay in an arrested decay state for very long unless somebody is taking care of it. If you look at the logs here, I mean, Mother Nature is definitely taking over. You got moss, ton of moss growing, and so that'll continue to grow on the wood here, and even on the side of the fireplace it's growing. And so, like I said, stuff here does not last for long if people aren't taking care of it. Oh, that chimney looks like it could topple over, doesn't it? So I don't know if you've been listening, in the background you can hear the sound of water, and that's because this cabin is situated right on the shoreline of this river here, which makes it the perfect place to hang out, because you don't have to go very far to catch your dinner, or your breakfast, I guess, if you really like fish for breakfast. Oh, here's something that's not that old, because it says check under the cap a winner every 60 seconds. So that's not something that would have been from back in the day, even though I can't tell what that was. Probably a beer bottle. Okay, so if you look over here, you can see Sam in the year 81, and then somebody else carved 86, so imagine Sam was out here at some point, probably drinking with his buddies down here at the old abandoned cabin in the woods. And then if you look back up in there, you can see, I'll have to move the camera, I don't think you can see that, but you can actually see fabric from the old mattress, from one of the old mattresses up in there. It looks kind of like the beds were made, there might have been hewn out of logs too, the bed frame. But at least that's what it looks like from this angle here. And don't ask me how I crawled in here, because I just did. So if you look up in there, you can see the fabric from one of those mattresses is pretty deteriorated. You can see it's rusting, the metal's rusting through the fabric, that white fabric, and then looks like some fabric, a sheet or something over the top of it back there. And then if you look, you can see what looks like a log post standing up, probably the headboard, part of a frame for the bed, would be my guess. It looks like we've got some old fabric here. It's kind of like that thicker netting, something that you would use maybe as a screen almost. Not really sure what that is. Here's a long view of the cabin. Or at least what's left of it. Alright, sightseers, other than quickly becoming mosquito bait and possibly tick bait, there really isn't much else to see here, and so Marty and I are gonna blast on out of here. If you liked the video, give us a thumbs up. Be sure to comment down below and share with your friends if you enjoyed the vid. Fortunately, there wasn't much left to see, but that's just the way it goes sometimes, so guess I'll have to keep looking for the perfect cabin. But until next time, this is Sightseeing Sally saying, I'm out of here. Special thanks goes out to all our fellow sightseers here on Patreon and PayPal. Without you, these videos wouldn't be possible.